The morning after Nwanyirua's defiance, the village of Oloko did not wake quietly. It roared awake. From every direction came the sound of metal gongs struck in rhythm. The signal of summons, the call of women, the sound of a storm gathering. They came in dozens, then hundreds, and then by the next sunrise in thousands. Women from Aba, Bende, Owerri, Umuahia, Ngwa, and beyond, their bare feet stamping the earth like thunder. They carried palm fronds, symbols of peace and protest. They wore wrappers of indigo and ochre, some tied across their chests, others knotted at their waists. Their faces were marked with white chalk, the mark of women who would no longer be silent. They sang as they marched. He who eats the people's wealth, may the earth reject his bones. Their chants rolled through the villages like a living drum. Markets shut down, farms emptied. The ordinary rhythm of life paused, replaced by the rhythm of rebellion. Inside his compound, Chief Okugo sat behind closed doors, trembling. His staff of office, once a symbol of power, now felt like a curse. The crowd outside his gate was endless, women chanting his name with mockery and fury. Okugo, the British made you king, and but we, the mothers of this land, can unmake you. He called for help. None came. Even the young men who once guarded him kept their distance, afraid to challenge the women. In other towns, Aba, Umuahia, and Owerri, warrant chiefs faced the same reckoning. Women surrounded their compounds, mocking their greed, singing songs that cut deeper than any spear. The colonial officers, hearing of the uprising, were stunned. They had underestimated the power of African women, seeing them only as petty traders. Now they have turned into an army, though without guns, but armed with something more dangerous: unity. At the edge of every market, women lit fires in small clay pots. They poured palm oil on the flames and chanted invocations. Let truth burn brighter than lies. These were not just protests. They were rituals of cleansing. Each song carried layers of satire, insult, and prophecy. They stripped the chiefs of dignity not with weapons, but with words. Mockery became a weapon. Laughter became defiance. Every song told a story on a story of greed, betrayal, and the strength of mothers who refused to bow. The British officers called them unruly mobs, but among the women, it was known by another name: Ogu Umunwanyi, the Women's War. As the protests spread across the eastern provinces, the scale became impossible to contain. Women marched to native courts, symbols of colonial control. They overturned benches, tore down signboards, and demanded the removal of corrupt chiefs. In Aba, the crowd swelled so large that even the district officer fled to safety. Reports reached Enugu and Lagos. Thousands of women are rebelling. The colonial administration responded the only way it knew how: with guns. But even under threat, the women did not retreat. One British officer wrote in shock, "These women moved as if commanded by one spirit." They were not trained soldiers, but their organization was impeccable. They used drums as communication, chants as orders, and markets as command posts. The uprising spread like wild Harmattan fire, from Oloko to Aba, Owerri, Ikot Ekpene, and Opobo. Within weeks, more than 10,000 women were on the move. Their message was simple: we will not be counted, we will not be taxed, we will not be ruled by corruption. The British had never seen anything like it. In their reports, they wrote words like disorder, riot, and native hysteria. But in the villages, it was something else: a spiritual awakening. Fathers watched their wives and daughters march past in pride. Men whispered to one another, "Our mothers are doing what we could not." When the British finally opened fire in Aba and Opobo, the cost was terrible. Dozens of women fell, but the rebellion did not die. It had done what it was meant to do: to shatter fear, to expose oppression, and to ignite awareness. The empire realized too late this was not chaos. This was resistance. And somewhere in the shadows, Nwanyirua sits by the fire, her eyes reflecting the flames. The widow who defied the chief had unknowingly lit a revolution. The British would retaliate. Villages would burn. More would die. But by then, The fire had already spread too far to be put out. The world now watched, and the Empire? They had no idea what was coming next. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter of history's forgotten voices.